All right, so like I told you, we are going to be making... Oh, snap, hey!
For the minis.
All right, James, 200... Ma'am, hi. Oh, wow, hey! I hope y'all are getting some good roleplay emotes out there, everyone. My goodness. Oh, Marlboro Man got the staff or the cane? The empty chest? Oh, wow, James, that's very generous of you. Thank you so much. This will bring you to about $20, if I'm not mistaken. Well, awesome. So cheers to you. Num num num. And also, does that make you, are you stream boss now? Yes, James Norris is stream boss. Look at that vivid green life bar. Congratulations on that, James. With a very nice picture of dice. Is that your collection? Alright, so like I was saying, we're going to be super sneaky. And, don't tell Peter Jeremy, alright? But I loaded up a question. I loaded up some questions for him based on what I experienced with them running their game over at D&D time. They have an ongoing world. It's a lot of fun, episodic adventures every Friday. I highly suggest you check it out. Heck, if you want to play and you have a Friday evening open, go play with them. But anyway, so I picked their brains a little bit. And I got some interesting information that I want to weave somewhere into these NPCs we're going to be creating tonight. And, oh, look at that, the fireball, HP potion, all kinds of stuff. I like that staff. RPG oops. Oh. Well, James, you unlocked a lot of emotes for people. That is awesome. Thank you for doing that. And when you know which box of minis you'd like to pick up, let me know. You're $2 shy of getting a Storm King's Thunder or a Monster Menagerie 3 if that's what you want. But you can get a full pull of something else like a Villainous or a Tyranny of Dragons. So anyway, I asked the boys over on their homebrew channel tonight as they were making a another D&D time playable race based on the Scarecrow. Yeah, let me know, James. I'm here. I'll be happy to pop one open for you. Or you could get 4 gotcha capsules as well, depending on how you feel about that. And we'll see if I can take some of that information and interweave that somewhere in our NPCs and or villains. So, I have right here and right here everything that we need to make some non-player characters or some villains. And I would absolutely love to have this be interactive with you all as we go through this process. So first things first, let's find out if the character we're making is going to be more of a classic NPC or if he or she is going to have a villainous bend to them. And so, James, would you let's roll a percentile, exclamation point 1D100, And we're going to do 1 to 50 is an NPC, 51 to 100 is a villain. Villains are technically NPCs, but they just get a little extra special treatment. Oh, if James isn't here, Baloo's Clues, would you type exclamation point 1D100? Stops on a 77. All right, so we are going to make a villainous kind of character. So here's our villain worksheet that we're going to be using. All right, now what kind of a villainous character are we going to be creating that will be some sort of an origin or mascot for an autumnal holiday? Hark, would you please type exclamation point 1D20? All right, we have an 18. 18 is a humanoid raider or ravager. This almost sounds like, just from this alone, this might be a harvest festival, right? You know, get your crops in before the warlord comes through, or you know, with Samhain, you know, if you don't, anything you leave in the fields after Samhain is taboo to harvest and eat, because those are supposed to be left out for the Fae. Now, for the type of humanoid, there are 9 humanoids in the player's handbook, but what we'll do is let's Marlboro Man, roll a D10 for me, and if we get a 10, maybe we'll go to Volo's guide, and we'll get extra special with our humanoid. So just exclamation point 1D10, Marlboro. Lands on a 1. All right. Now let's find out what kind of a humanoid we're working with here. All right, we are working with a Dragonborn. Victor, will you please, let's see. We technically have other as an option, so that's 11. Victor, would you please type exclamation point 1D12? And is a D20 a valid damage die? It'll be dealing an average of 11 damage plus the modifier. So you can hit big, but you can also hit really small. You rolled a 10. All right. So a 10 is a silver dragon. And so maybe in this case, we almost have like a Jack Frost, like harvest your stuff before the winter winds come and crisp your crops. It doesn't even have to be that. I'm throwing out ideas as we're generating this character. All right. For the alignment, I'm not worried about that right now. I mean, if he's a villain, even though it might be the explanation of a natural occurrence, it could still end up being seen as villainous. Levels not really going to be important, nor are if they have feats instead of ability scores. So I'm going to pass over this stuff here. And you'll notice we can go through and provide a little bit more information about our Silver Dragonborn, because a lot of things such as our occupation or history, that can be filled out with backgrounds and classes and such. Now, just let's say we roll a wizard. I don't know. But if we rolled a wizard, it doesn't have to be a classical wizard. This is certainly indicating, though, some personality traits or techniques that are used. All right, so we have a background here. Cybernetic Lithid, would you please roll a 20-sided die, exclamation point 1d20, and let's find out what the occupation is. 16. All right, so we have a sailor or a pirate in this case. That really backs up the whole Raider Ravager motif going on. So we have a pirate. All right, who else is here that hasn't rolled yet? Baloo, did you, or Baloo's? Okay, you got the percentile. Raz, if you're here, would you please type exclamation point 1d12? Stops on a 4, a druid. I think we have a saying in this channel, everyone. Oh, Sheeps, if you're here, would you please type a D4? And we're looking for odds or evens. Hark has got it. All right, if Sheeps is not here, who else is hanging around? Frogman, are you still here? Frogman, if you're here, will you type exclamation point 1d4? Baloo's is getting some quiplash practice in. All right, Refry, will you please type exclamation point 1d4? Crumdrade, hello, welcome. Exclamation point 1d4. Stops on a 3, odds. So we have a circle of the land. A circle of the land druid. All right, Crumdrade. Will you please type exclamation point 1d8? Hey, Coffee Cat, welcome. And the reason why I'm asking for a d8 is because we're going to find out which circle he's from. Lands on a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mountain. Excellent. All right, that was the class feature for the Druid Circle of Land. And I'm not worried about age or height. That's something that we can... it's part of the... We'll leave it to our imaginations. However, we can return back to our villain creation worksheet here and go back to our Dungeon Master's Guide. And now our villain has some kind of a scheme in order to, I guess, snap up the harvests, or to scare people into working, or maybe it's an Aesop's fable of the grasshopper and the ants. Coffee Cat, would you please type exclamation point 1d8? Oh, I need a D8 coffee. Stops on a 7. Revenge. Oh, revenge. Okay. Derek, would you please type exclamation point 1d4? Stops on a 1. Avenge a past humiliation or insult. It would be something along those lines, Marlboro, yes. All right, now, what is the method that our villain uses to pursue this scheme? Victor, will you please type exclamation point 1d20? Two, assault or beatings. This sounds familiar. What does it sound familiar to, Cybernetic? Now, beyond getting your crops in on time, our villain has some kind of a weakness that we can... Sounds familiar about 20 minutes ago? I don't know. Marlboro Man, will you please type exclamation point 1d8? Yeah, Dragonborn Bully. Lands on a 2. Alright, so I'm going to scoot this over a little bit here. The villain's power is broken if the death of its true love is avenged. Well, this villain is absolutely about revenge and avenging a past humiliation or insult. So now it's going to be up to us to come up with the lore, to come up with the tale that grandparents tell their little kids by the autumn fire at night when they're preparing a feast. Ah, I see what you're saying. Oh, gotcha, cybernetic. They'd be attacked by mass spirits, beaten with clubs. Cybernetic, you're onto something here. And so pirate, I mean, we might be talking about something inland. It doesn't have to be at sea. But as a pirate, you know, you're roaming the countryside. You're ravaging farmsteads. You're taking their supplies. You know, this is, it doesn't just have to be a nautical pirate. This could be a land-based pirate. You know, like a Genghis or Gengis or however you want to pronounce it, Khan. You know, you have the Dothraki in Song of Ice and Fire. They would be pirates just of, you know, the Sea of Grass. Or you could make it a river warlord. Absolutely. I mean, farms need irrigation and rivers and lakes and all that as well. All right, now, what are some interesting appearances to our Silver Dragonborn harvest villain here? The cautionary tale about why you should be working hard, even though we're losing sunlight. Going to create non-player characters. Cybernetic Illithid, would you please roll a d20? Victor, I mean, I can try and make small talk, but I also want to get this project. As I'm doing this as a bit of a special project, I want to make sure that I'm continuing along that. Oh, cybernetic. Let's go to Crumb Draw Day. Will you please type exclamation point 1d20? We haven't named it yet. Derek, before you bail, can you give me a d20 roll? Exclamation point 1d20. All right, so Crom, your d20 roll 1. Distinctive jewelry, earrings, necklace, circlets, bracelets. Coffee Cat, will you please type exclamation point 4d6? One, 3, 1, and 1. Yeah, they could be noisemakers. Absolutely, cybernetic. Very good pirate accoutrement. All right, the ability is high strength. Low con. And so how can we weave that into his myth somehow? Something to think about as we're making these placeholders. Now, our villain has a particular talent of some kind. Balooz, will you please roll a d20 for me? $17, an expert juggler. Hi, Lith. Lith Orbane, will you please type exclamation point 1d20? Let's find out this this villain's mannerisms. Anyways, I was saying I have another Dawn of Arthas session today, or Athas session. The players are arriving in a city run by moles. Oh, yes, because you're running some Dark Sun stuff, Victor. Lith rolls at 14. Squints. Always looking to the fields to see what's been left out as a tribute. You don't know how you work the juggler talent? They can juggle knives, can juggle snowballs, can juggle the heads of people that he's collected along the way. Expert juggler could also just be, this is someone who doesn't even physically juggle, but this is someone who can is responsible for many things. So this could be a supernatural, if not a deity, then almost not really a trickster either, but someone who's just attributed to anything bad that happens, because this person just gives people colds, makes people stub their toes, beats people over the head because they didn't harvest their crops before the first frost, that kind of a thing. Yeah, could be axes, scimitars, great swords, you know, flaming bowling pins. Yeah, so a low con could be maybe this person ended up dying from sickness or was born with a particular aversion or allergy or something along those lines. Sounds a bit like a farmer's version of St. Cuthbert beating people over the head and all. So yeah, you're juggling maces. Now, what is one way that if he's not ravaging the countryside? Actually, we didn't even roll if it was a him or a her. We can do that. I mean, Victor, whether it's a mall city or not, people spend their time in similar fashions. They shop, they rest, they gather information, they just relax. It would just be what's available in that particular city. If you need information, you can go to in Xanathar's guide and in the Dungeon Master's guide. It talks about carousing or some other downtime activity, and it's all right there for you, Victor. Balooz, would you please give me a D12 roll? Oh, well, I'm glad you're helping a new player discover how to roll, Hark. Roll a 4. Well, we have a rude person. Absolutely. Useful knowledge, we'll fill in. You know, this is the awesome black box. This could be anything that we need this person to be to fulfill whatever it is we want them to do. Now, Coffee Cat rolled 4d6. Then the first 2 went towards the abilities. The second 2 go towards the ideals. And so the ideal of this character is beauty. Hark, will you give me a percentile roll, and we're gonna find out if we have a rude, crude dude or a crass sass lass here. 68. We do have a rude, crude dude. Then we have a male character. All right, Marlboro Man, before you go real quick, we need a bond for this character. Will you please give me a D10 roll, Marlboro Man? Oh, that'd be something pretty wicked, Lith. Stops on a 7. All right, thank you, Marlboro. Have a good night. Protective of a sentimental keepsake. This is our jar of dirt for Davy Jones. This is perhaps something that belonged to the person that he lost. Oh, Trust a Flump is here. All right, everyone, pretend that we're not doing what we're doing, and we're making a character that's not an NPC about a holiday. Boy, this beholder should... you caught us, Trust a Flump. Yeah, it could be a necklace, especially because we know that this person wears exorbitant jewelry. All right, Trust a Flump. Well, if you're going to be here, you're going to participate. Can you please type exclamation point 1D12? Thank you for the cover, Fire Blues. There's only 12. Hi, Tired Nerd. Did it good enough to get invited to a second session, which I unfortunately had a doctor... Oh, well, hey, look, that happens. I hope they all understood. I'm very happy you were able to have a good takeaway from the workshop session, Tired Nerd. All right, well, Trust a Flump is rolling a D13. Well, we didn't get a 13, so we're going to go with the 3 all the same. And so our flaw or our secret is arrogance. All right, so this is what we have as far as our NPC villain. And I want we're going to get into the detail of the ceremonies and the holidays in tomorrow's workshop. But what kind of ideas come to mind for an autumnal festival of some kind? I mean, this could even be why we give thanks. This could be a Halloween style. This could be a harvest festival. A harvest and or drinking festival. So we have the personification maybe of what, like the first frost of winter. Someone who marks the end of harvest season. We have a silver dragonborn raider / ravager. A male pirate, whether of the seas, the lakes, the streams, or it's an inland pirate group like we were talking about the Dothraki, or you know, the Huns. This person, this seasonal representation, this holiday, again, either the cause of the holiday as a real historical figure or the personification is out for revenge, to avenge a past humiliation or insult. The Huns were named after flumps. That is a little known fact. I did not know that. Attila the Flump. Excellent. So something happened, and this person is out for revenge to avenge a past humiliation or insult. Absolutely, Blues. You may do so. Thank you for asking first. Now, this person delivers punishment with some kind of an assault or a beating if you do not behave during the time of the holiday. The villain's power is broken if the death of its true love is avenged. And that absolutely feeds back on the revenge aspect. We have a very tight-knit character. I think he's. I think this is a very solid concept, because now this is spawning more lore, the origin of the festival, and also what we would do then to try and calm down this vengeful frost spirit from the mountains, flowing down, from the Arctic chill of the mountains down across the farmlands to crisp and frost our crops. Kind of like a Krampus, I suppose, Lith. Now, the occupation or history. Oh, yeah, we already had that. Now, we're saying mechanically he's a druid, which would simply indicate that he can turn into animals, as many holiday, Halloween, Dracula turns into bats or something. We have someone who could be lurking as a cat, as a mouse, as a crow. We have someone who could always be watching from the mountain. You see a mountain lion, that's obviously so-and-so taken shape. This works out so well, my goodness. And by being a Circle of the Land druid in particular, I mean, the druids are going to druid. By being a mountain, it means that we get some more specific spells. It will give us a locale. We've manifested a mountain somewhere next to this harvest area. Spider climb, spike growth, lightning bolt, meld into stone, stone shape, stone skin, pass wall, and wall of stone. And so here we have someone who can climb and crawl, spike growth, someone who, if you don't harvest your pumpkins in time before the first frost, you're gonna find all your food has suddenly grown spikes and is dangerous and inedible. Lightning bolt, meld into stone. Rumors of people sinking into the ground when they make this character upset. Stone shape, again, someone who's able to maybe leave warnings, or even if people go missing and they suddenly find that there's a stone that is in the same shape of old Farmer McGillicuddy, and they think that he was turned to stone. And of course, look, this is we could put whatever spells we want here. Maybe he has flesh to stone as a spell. Elithid says a giant deer horn goes in, drags someone off into the fields to freeze. A Yeti rock juggler. Now he wears distinctive jewelry, perhaps in memory of the lost love. Well, you have Trust of Flump's approval there. And perhaps a part of the holiday, maybe you have to leave something like a vine or a flower crown out, because that is something that his love wore, before she died, or you have to at least show deference, so you don't have to give it up, but you have to put a gold ring on a hoop outside your house, to show deference to the person who wears this cursed golden ring or something along those lines. The high and low abilities can play into the myth and the lore that we can create with the holiday tomorrow. Expert juggler. Again, this could be something spooky. This could be, this could even play into the tale. Maybe this is how he met his lost love. You know, was out on the seas and learned how to juggle, you know, belaying pins or something along those lines. And went into port, or again, if pirate is just a notion, you know, went into the next farming village as a simple, you know, as a simple tribesman of the great grass sea, and could juggle swords or could juggle mundane stuff as well. Off the keyboard, man, come on. He squints. Again, that could come into just how we picture this person, or there could be a reason why he squints all the time. Is very rude. He has this ideal, and while he's probably a bad person, this is generally regarded as a good ideal, but he believes in beauty. He's searching for beauty. That could play into the jewelry. That could even, you know, for someone who spoils the land and keeps wonderful crops out in the cold to be afflicted, to die, to not be consumable, like perhaps his poor wife or loved one, you know, needed a special flower, and the town said, yeah, we'll get it to you, we'll get it to you, and the frost settled and killed the flower, and then his lover died, and the people from the village couldn't make it to the mountain with this special flower because they waited too long. They kept putting it off until the cold winds from the mountain came down and destroyed the flower. And so, you know, we have things of beauty, which then could also go into things like flower crowns, so people don't have to leave actual jewels out for, you know, a supernatural mascot to take. So we still have someone who's brutal in his methodology and is merciless, though has this sense of beauty to him. He's protective of a sentimental keepsake. You know, is this the Headless Horseman's head? Is this, you know, is this a special ring, as we were talking about, that was a part of the jewelry, something that's distinctive, and something that, you know, if, you know, maybe one time someone stole it, and there's this story of revenge, and never do that, or, you know, you put a moral in the story so the kids listening to it by the hearth will, you know, learn to not be little duty heads. And then he has his character flaw. He is arrogant, and so that's the moral. That's a moral of the lesson, right? It's a character flaw. It is, you know, don't be as arrogant as this person. It'll lead you to doom. It'll lead you to a life or an unlife of misery and cold. And also, if you ever find yourself caught on a lonely path through the farm fields late in autumn, if you are able to talk up the beauty of this man, the polish of his scales, the golden ring of his, you know, or you never mention the golden ring of the loved one, but you mention everything else, and you play up the arrogance, you may be fortunate enough to escape so-and-so. Could be engraved bells, simple jewelry, auditory cues are fun. And so instead of something like a jack-o'-lantern cybernetic, if you want something like a bell or at least a noisemaker, you could have something where everyone fashions out of gourds. They dry the seeds and they dry the husk, and they almost make like maracas or something to set out. And maybe they paint the maracas beautiful colors. Yeah, just beauty. Well, beauty, yeah. You know, this person is known for jewelry, but jewelry, again, we can interpolate, we can extrapolate or interpret as, again, a crown of daisies, of pumpkin vines woven together, of chrysanthemums, you know, some beautiful fall flowers, chrysanthemums in bloom, that are made into beautiful decorations like earrings or something. Excellent. All right, so I think are we pretty well decided that while we don't have the details, this person is generally going to be like a harvest festival NPC? The cat's been going bonkers. He's been playing fetch. Nisa fetches rings. Raichi has a ball, a little ball that he fetches. And he's on the lookout for it. Hi, buddy. All right. Excellent. Now let us make another NPC or villain. So, Kromdrade, I would like you to roll a percentile for me. And if it's 1 to 50, it's an NPC. 51 to 100, it's another villain. We're going to make 2 NPCs and 2 villains. Your cat's a weirdo too, Blues. Exclamation point 1D100. For all the dice rolls, there will be a number, and then the D, and then the type of dice. Exclamation point 1D100. Stops on a 60. All right. This is our second villain, and the other 2 are going to be just, you know, NPCs of some kind. So we're going to make another villain here. And let's go to our adventure villain. All right, Baloo's Clues, will you please type exclamation point 1D20? Stops on a 4. A dragon bent on domination and plunder. Didn't we just roll one of these, except it was humanoid? Yeah, indeed, Blues. Because this is Dungeons and Dragons, Hark. All right, Hark, will you please roll a D12? We're going to base this on the Dragonborn chart. Yeah, it's not Dungeons and Flumps. Lands on a 7. A green dragon. All right, now. This dragon has an objective or a scheme to accomplish this. Cybernetic Illithid, will you please roll exclamation or just type exclamation point 1D8? Green is acid because it's chlorine gas. No, that's black. It's poison. Poison, poison, poison. It lands on a 6. Power. All right, it writes itself, everyone. Iwi. Who else is here? Trustaflump, if you're here, will you please give me a D4 roll? It stops on a 3. Become the power behind the throne. All right, now, what is the method that our villain's going to use to do this? All right, Cybernetic, do what you gotta do. Who else is hanging out with us here? Is there anyone I haven't called on? Refry, are you still out there? Refry, if you're out there, can you give me exclamation point 1D20? Ah, excellent, Phoenix. Phoenix, then can you please type exclamation point 1D20? Lands on a 12. Murder. All right. Baloo's Clues, will you please type exclamation point 1D10? If it's an 8, Cybernetic absolutely called it. Or Hark did. Almost. It's on a 9. Murder, stabbing. Doesn't mean you can't be stabbed with a poisoned implement. Now, our villain has a weakness, as all villains do. Trustaflump, will you roll a D8? Hey, Fiara the Tank Girl is raiding. Welcome. Well, you type exclamation point 1D9. I needed it. There you go, a 5. Ah. The villain is destroyed if it speaks its true name. Hashtag tree abuse. Oh, man, what was going on in Fallout Aponia? Welcome, welcome, Raiders. Let me give you all a, there we go. Taking out frustrations on Timberwolves. Giving them a good solid kick, huh? Well, welcome, Raiders. We are making some NPCs that are representing autumnal festivals. And so we're randomly generating NPCs, and we're going to assign them some kind of a theme for this time of year. Oh, literal timber. So there were wolves made of timber. So when they fell, what did you yell? All right, now, what would be the general occupation of this green dragon, such that they want to become the power behind the throne? We have a whole slew of new people in here. And so let me Von Holtz, will you please type exclamation point 1D20? Oh. Heck yeah. Party parrot up in here. Woo, 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 woo. Corvus, what would you like to do with those bits? We have gotcha capsules, boxes of minis. Let me know. You want to throw them? Wah! Well, we had a little party parrot moment, huh? Throw them everywhere. If Von Holtz isn't there, Corvus, will you please type exclamation point 1D20? Yeah, 1D20. Well, just be careful, because that might be O'Sheep's. All right, Corvus rolls a 2. A charlatan. Excellent. And Crittree, will you please type exclamation point 1D6? If you're not there, Refry, will you please type exclamation point 1D6? Phoenixina, will you please type exclamation point 1D6? Stops on a 3. So we have a charlatan. I insinuate myself into people's lives to prey on their weakness and secure their fortunes. Hello. If for any of you who are new here, there is a saying, because this is uncannily what happens when we enter workshop mode. It writes itself. Number 3. Coffee Cat. I will when I can, Coffee. Coffee, can you please give me a percentile roll? 1 to 50, we have a female character. 51 to 100, we have a male character. 5. So we do have a female character. All right. Now, Cybernetic Illithid, will you please type exclamation point 1D12? We have a barbarian. And let's see, who else do we have? Corvus, can you please type exclamation point 1D4? And we're going to go odds or evens. All right, Coffee. Thank you for joining us and hanging out and helping us build these characters. Stops on an odd, so we have a berserker. Yeah. Hey, you know what? It builds one page at a time, and you're doing excellent work, Coffee. Hopefully I'll get to see you in one of your caffeine fix. For everyone out there, Coffee Cat streams art, and I love the name of the show, which is called A Caffeine Fix. So hopefully we'll see you in a caffeine fix tomorrow, Coffee. Gotcha. Excellent. Coffee, you're welcome to share your channel. And Tank Girl also, if you would like to put a link over to your channel too, you're welcome. All right, so I'm not really worried about, you know, the age. We're talking about a manifestation of a holiday here. But we are going to go back to the Dungeon Master's Guide. And lo and behold, when you're creating non-player characters, there's a whole chart here. Thank you for sharing that, Coffee. Black Wolf, will you please type exclamation point 1D20? That may be the case, Crumdrade. We're going to get to personality and such in a little bit. Probably not, but you're welcome to share then on her behalf, Corvus. Thank you. Thank you. All right, if Black Wolf isn't here, Coffee Cat, before you go, can you give me a D20 roll then for this NPC's appearance? Thank you. 10. Tattoos. Ooh, tattoos of what? All right, Corvus, this is a big roll. I know you're going to be good for it. Exclamation point 4D6. Have a great night, Coffee. Thanks for joining us. Maybe past victims. Exactly, Big Sam. Nope, I just need all right. 2, 2, 5, and 2. All right, so we can't have the same two numbers be the same. So go ahead and Corvus type exclamation point 1D6. All right, on a 3. Excellent. All right, so she has a high dex and another low con. You know, if we're talking about harvest and in the flu season, we seem to have some villains born out of tragedies regarding hunger or health, which honestly works very well to tell a compelling story. Yeah, famine breeds death. And so, now, our character, our villain, has a talent of some kind. Big Sam, will you please type exclamation point 1D20 into chat? Yeah, the villains may very well even be opposed. Just because they're both villains doesn't mean they get along. Stops on a 1, plays a musical instrument. Huh, I wonder what kind of musical instrument this person plays. Let's go to chapter 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cybernetic Illithid, will you please give me a D10 roll? Exclamation point 1D10. Stops on a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A horn. Or. All right, now our villain has a mannerism, a way in which you can see her when she presents herself. Hark, will you give me a D20 roll? Stops on a 6. Speaks loudly. Always going around shouting. And Baloo's Clues. Will you please give me a D12 roll? How does she interact with other people? Yes, she might speak in an old dialect. Ye olde common. Stops on a 9. Irritable. So you can talk to her, but she's going to have very short patience. Yeah, maybe she pulls off her own horn. Cromdrade. Well, we have our ideal. All right, be on hold real quick. Let's explore her ideal, and then Cromdrade, I'm gonna have you roll for the bond. So we had a 5 and a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A neutral ideal of knowledge. Yes, this is a charlatan. So we have someone who's a bit of a trickster, it would seem. Yeah, like a doctor in Munchkinland, short patience. All right, Cromdrade, will you please roll a d10? Lands on a 5. Captivated by a romantic interest. All right, and then lastly, Corvus, would you give me a D12 roll to find out what's her flaw or her secret? Lands on a 3. Arrogance. Also arrogance. All right, let's review this villain, and let's make a basic idea. We don't need to get into the details, the minutia of the holiday, of the traditions. Let's take a look at what we've generated, and let's come up with some kind of an autumnal holiday. Because remember, as we're exploring, our autumnal holidays are harvest festivals. They're like old religious holidays. We do have we also have themes of harvest and light, of victory over evil. We have themes of Thanksgiving, and we have themes of even drinking. And to me, I think we actually have a kind of an Oktoberfest style, right? We have someone who gets rowdy after a while, very arrogant, has a drinking horn, speaks loudly, and if you drink enough, you go berserk. You know, to become the power behind the throne, maybe in these lands, you know, royalty was subject to becoming drunk very easily. And so this green dragon is actually a personification of alcohol, of poison. That's what alcohol is. So while we rolled a green dragon, and she may very well be represented as such, this could almost be, and by the way, so she could almost, that could even be the lost love, Cromdrade. We're creating a pantheon of some kind, or at least we're a cohesive folklore, where the silver dragonborn might have had this as a lost love. What would she polymorph into? Whatever she wanted. Now, we don't have to go with what I'm putting out there, but I'm seeing elements of poison, alcohol, a barbarian, a berserker, someone who gets drunk and fighting, plays a musical instrument, a horn, a drinking horn, and also just a very powerful boo-boo, boo-boo. The charlatan. You know, are we who we are when we drink? She has another identity. And that other identity could even be the lost love up above. She speaks loudly like a braggadocious drunk in a mead house. Gets very irritable. Same. Someone who seeks knowledge. What is one of the things that you do besides fighting, like not fighting when you're drunk? You philosophize. You share too much information. You learn stuff. You teach stuff. And even the pursuit of learning how to brew draws on immense amounts of knowledge in logistics and nature. Yeah, that Big Sam, choose the image of your destroyer. There you go. So in this case, instead of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, our green dragon turns into our beloved tumbled wench here. So you know she can be that beer maiden at the festival, as she is looking to to become the power behind the throne. Right, alcohol is seeking to take control over you, and so you do have a sense of duality here. And so she may look beautiful, she may be attractive, to men or women alike. She's there, she's serving, and but at the same time she's deadly, she's coercive. She turns you into someone else, hence the charlatan bend. Could also be one who killed the lost love. We have a pursuit of a lawful order with a chaotic streak and a chaotic anti-city druid. Well, there's nothing saying that the druid is anti-city. Druid is simply the methodology or the skill set. So it just indicates that our Dragonborn can turn into animals and have access to certain spells. But there doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to. It could be like an old order druid Dragonborn. Or honestly, how about this? We have a silver male Dragonborn. We have a female green dragon. What if they're both the same person? And that is the whole point. Like, so we can link up the charlatan identity and the druidic shape-shifting here to have them cross over. And we could very well have the same person as a kind of a trickster god, or this, fall is a time of change. It's a time of weather changing, of crops, of our moods, of what we eat, and everything is changing. It's out with the old as we prepare to go into hibernation to restore the new. Cybernetic, and we can work that with any of the... Hey, Grimvex. We can work that with anything that we've rolled. Now, that said, if any of you... Hey, Corvus, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome aboard. What kind of a holiday, then, would she represent? Would she be the sponsor of, the mascot of, the real or imagined origin character of this autumn festival? Would it be drinking? Would it be lights? Would it be... Could it honestly just be a different type of a harvest festival? Could it be something like Thanksgiving? Could she be a villainous source for people to give thanks of what they have and who they have, because it could easily be lost? Roll for liquor choice? I mean, it could just be whatever. I mean, really, when it comes down to alcohol, you pretty much have beers and you have whiskeys. In terms of how you're brewing your grain. I know that's a super simplification. So something like a drinking like an Oktoberfest. Though what Cybernetic is getting at here, are we talking more like beers? Are we talking wines, which could include mead, you know, honey and water? Or are we talking harder alcohols like sake and whiskey and all these other derivatives? Or are we just saying it's alcohol is alcohol and alcohol is poison, so it doesn't matter what you're drinking, we're celebrating it. We got trees, we got squoils, we'll bless them all. Green beer. So this is St. Patrick's Day in the fall. I mean, honestly, there could be a tradition, right? When everything is turning yellow, as per fall, maybe there's a tradition where on this holiday they dye their beer green to keep the dragon away or something like that, or to even like celebrate, like, yes, our queen, and that way it'll make sure that, you know, she doesn't come and visit you and deliver ill fortune upon you. You know, the only beer you can trust on this festival is a green beer, because she'll think that she already visited your cup and will pass you by. Pardon. Wines, grappa. Grappa, I think, is what it's a sort of a half mead, half beer. Sakes, absinthes. This is cybernetic. Green beer is cursed. Well, so I guess what we can do... 35%. Okay, gotcha. If you want to roll cybernetic, if we break it down to beers, wines, and hard alcohols, there's a D3 command in cybernetic. Why don't you roll exclamation point 1D3? And it's not that other things can't be consumed. Get a 2. So it's wines in this case. Because I said beer, wines, and hard alcohol. So we have a drinking festival, particularly about wines. Yes. Or bees. Excellent. Hi, Daly. Daly, you are just in time for me to get up and take a break. We have made 2 villains that are the prompts for autumnal festivals, because we're going to be creating some festivals together. I'm going to take a 10-minute break. I'm going to get a snack and a drink. And when I come back, we are going to be making 2 NPCs, non-villainous. Doesn't mean they can't be rude or crude. But we're going to make 2 NPCs that are going to reflect 2 other kinds of autumn, or even maybe late summer, you know, because we're talking about Obon, and we're talking about the Burning Man Festival, that represent autumn-themed holidays. There you go. Yep, stretch if you haven't done so. Get a drink, and I'll see you soon, everyone.